Hi, and welcome to another episode of Emerald Isle Vacation Home Specialist. I am your host, Dennis Richkovsky. Some of you recognize me as the co-owner of Flip Flops Donuts, and some of you know me as your broker of real estate, who specializes in waterfront and waterview properties along the Crystal Coast, especially on Bogue Banks and in my town of Emerald Isle, North Carolina. On this channel, you will find essential information from the inside scoops on buying and selling houses to how to live with the ocean, rivers, and sounds that define the Crystal Coast. Today's episode is all about biking the banks. Whether you visit here occasionally or live here full time, getting to know about cycling events in and around the Crystal Coast and Emerald Isle is a story worth telling. Before I begin, please subscribe to my video channel now or at the end of this episode. If you Google Bike the Banks, you'll discover a plethora of events that have hijacked this name for their own purposes. Some of these events involve bicycles, some motorcycles. Some are at or near the coast, and some are not so much. This episode promotes the 7th annual Bike the Banks Crystal Coast Lighthouse Challenge. The rides will be held Saturday, May 7th. Sponsored by the Emerald Isle Bike and Pedestrian Committee, the event features 3 rides, 10, 50, and 100 miles, to challenge bikers of all skill levels. The premier event of the day is the Century Ride at 100 miles, which is an out-and-back ride that will take participants from Emerald Isle Community Center down Bogue Banks to Fort Macon, then back to Atlantic Beach, over to Morehead City, through Beaufort and down east Carteret County to the Cape Lookout Lighthouse, at least as close as you can ride on a bicycle. There is also a 50-mile out-and-back ride to Fort Macon. This ride begins at the community center, goes to the point at Emerald Isle, then down the island to Fort Macon and back. The final ride, a 10-mile fun ride, is designed as a more leisurely ride for adults and families. That ride begins at the community center and follows the Emerald Isle bike path to the Eastern Ocean Regional Access parking lot in Emerald Isle near mile marker 15, where riders turn and pedal back to the community. These rides are all designed to help promote bicycle riding in Carteret County and to raise funds to support the Emerald Isle bike and pedestrian path that runs for 12 miles throughout the town. Both the Century Ride and the 50-mile rides begin at 7:30 a.m. The 10-mile ride begins at 8 a.m. All 3 rides begin and end at the Emerald Isle Community Center located at 203 Leisure Lane, which is located near milepost 19 on Emerald Drive, also known as Highway 58. Registration is $40 per rider for the 100 and 50-mile rides and $25 for the 10-mile event. Those who pre-register for the ride by April 3rd are assured a Bike the Banks t-shirt. Registration is online and available at this minute. Registrations will also be accepted on the morning of the ride beginning at 6:30 a.m. at the Emerald Isle Community Center. At that same time, riders who are pre-registered can pick up their t-shirts. A brief meeting will be held shortly before each of the rides. The Century Ride course will close at 2:30 p.m. All riders should wear helmets, and the use of rear flashers are encouraged to improve visibility. Rest stops with drinks and snacks are strategically located for all 3 rides. Parking for participants is available at the community center and at the Emerald Isle Town Hall at 7509 Emerald Drive. To reduce traffic and for safety purposes, personal SAGs or support and gear vehicles are not encouraged. There is no rain date. Previous rides have had strong turnouts. Last year, 285 cyclists registered, and that was about 100 riders more than registered for the 2019 event. The 2020 event was canceled due to COVID-19 restrictions. More than 240 of those who registered for the event last year participated in the event. The largest contingent was the 50-milers who rode to Fort Macon and back. There were well over 150 of those, and another 40 or so who did the century out to Harkers Island and back. There were also about 40 riders in the 10-mile fun ride. At the start of the race, committee member Ken Stone informed the group that money raised from the event would go to maintain the Emerald Path, the 12-mile bicycle and pedestrian walkway that runs the length of the town. Participants should wear helmets and have running rear lights for safety. Participants in the 10-mile ride will stay on the Emerald Bike Path exclusively. Please remember to obey all traffic signs, including stopping at all intersections. Riders in the 50 and 100-mile rides will be sharing the road with automobile traffic on Highway 58 on Bogue Banks, where speed limits vary from 25 to 45 miles an hour. Traffic can be challenging in Atlantic Beach at the traffic light. The road to Fort Macon is twisty and has a narrow shoulder. Leaving Bogue Banks, cyclists on the 100-mile ride to Harkers Island will travel on Highway 70 East through Morehead City, Beaufort, and into Otway. Speed limits here vary from 35 to 55 miles an hour. In Otway, at the Crossroads Pizza, cyclists will head south on State Road 1335 or Harkers Island Road. Cyclists will ride through the community of Strait and then cross the Harkers Island Drawbridge and follow Harkers Island Road to its eastern terminus and the turnabout point of the ride at the 2-story visitor center, which is one of the 2 ferry gateways to Cape Lookout Light Station on South Core Banks. Cyclists in the 100-mile ride will have a 2:30 p.m. cutoff, meaning that they will have to average almost 15 miles an hour to complete the 100 miles in under 7 hours. Considering that you may want to stop for refreshments or to use facilities, that is a fairly aggressive pace. To be sure, the ride is mostly flat except for bridges, especially the roughly 3/4 mile, 65-foot high Gallants Channel Bridge connecting Morehead City to Beaufort. And then, of course, there are those invisible hills. That's what we call the ever-present headwind that is usually coming from the southwest this time of the year. To learn more about other bicycle and recreational opportunities along the Crystal Coast, subscribe to my newsletter by texting your email address to 919-308-2292, or sign up for my blog on my website, www.eihomesforsale.com, and subscribe to Emerald Isle Vacation Home Specialist on YouTube at the end of this video. Stay well and stay safe, my friends. So come on down, please subscribe to my channel below, and definitely return next week to the same bat channel at the same bat time of 9 a.m. on Thursday for another episode of Emerald Isle Vacation Home Specialist.